Hello everybody. I wanted to upload another message as soon as possible, so you're not left with my last angry one. I have got some quite mixed feelings about the video that I uploaded. I mean, for one part, I'm kind of embarrassed about it, and for the other part, I feel like, wow, okay, I just needed to get angry for a few minutes because in the 3 days after the video, the campaign grew more than 3 days than it ever had in 3 months. There's been around 50 people that have joined the campaign since the video, and around another 50 occasional donations. So thank you so much for that. I'm really appreciative for that reaction. I wasn't expecting it. I don't know what I was expecting. I didn't really think about it. I just had some stuff that I needed to say. So I wanted to come back with something much more practical and optimistic and more certain as well. So I don't think anybody can really understand the level of stress involved in this work, and I guess I'm also responsible for letting it get that far. I've tried to give this message in a number of other ways than the last video and it didn't work, but I have always also been willing to fill that gap between the help received and the work produced, as I mentioned, and that's only been because I take the donations received so seriously. But we live and learn. That's not sustainable, and here we are. So I wanted to talk about some of the issues that came up in the video and in the messages and the responses. The first thing I really want to make clear is this isn't about, or it shouldn't be about, poor guy, poor Michalis, let's help him out. It really needs to be about the project. This isn't about sustaining me. I can sustain myself in 100 creative ways. There's a lot of things I'm interested in that I would like to pursue that I can sustain myself with. It's not about sustaining Michalis. It's about, do you value this project enough and the effect that it's had on your own life to want it to continue doing the same and having the same effect on other people's lives? And if you care enough about that, there is this action to take to give $1 a month and to support the project. If you don't care enough about it, then that's fine too. We just need to know where we stand. So from my point of view, this job could be so fun and so exciting, and there's so many elements of it that I love, and then there are elements of it that I really hate, and those are the elements that are taking most of my time and most of my energy. So I'm going to put forward a plan to reduce those elements of the project that are so overwhelming, and also a time limit to do that by, and we'll see what happens. So I've reorganized the Patreon campaign. There is a new first milestone. There's a first milestone of $1,500, and this milestone covers the basic ground costs of LT every month, from website costs, etc., sending the packs out, etc. All the basic costs every month, and also a modest living wage for all that I do for me, which the Patreon campaign hasn't offered until now. Now, if this milestone isn't reached by the time Complete German and Introduction to French, the delayed materials, are completely online, then I will step back, work part-time on language transfer, and take other projects in my life. So that's the first milestone. The second milestone, which is extremely important as well, is the $2,500 milestone. Now this milestone is so important because it's going to relieve the vast amount of stress from the project, which has got to do with audio editing. Now the great majority of my time goes to audio editing. I create all of the courses that are online. There's been 7 new courses since 2014, and that's me editing them all, editing my own voice. And it's got to the point, in my life that I speak and I'm just irritated by my voice because I'm exposed to it so much. I have to concentrate listening to my own voice so much. And there are a couple of things that have directly to do with funds that make this much more difficult and time consuming and frustrating than it could be. So the first thing is that because of where I am in rural Asturias, as I mentioned in the last video, is it's where I can afford the rent and to sustain myself if I'm going to work on the project full time. Because of this isolated situation, in new languages, that I'm making courses for that I don't speak, for example, like French or Chinese, which I will have to make now Mandarin. I need to worry a lot about my own pronunciation, and that's very time consuming. Maybe I pronounced the wrong vowel for a word, and then I need to edit that, in every occurrence of that word in the audio, and also make it sound like it's not edited to the best of my ability, and that's really frustrating and really time consuming. And one of the things we could do to get around that, and something that people have been asking for a long time as well, is to have native speakers in the audio courses. So the $2,500 base milestone pays for a city base in a cosmopolitan city where it should be really easy to get native speakers in the majority of languages that are voted to participate in the audio courses and model the sentences. So then I'm not worried about my pronunciation. It's just model your pronunciation on that person. I'm doing something else, and I can concentrate on what I'm doing, which is conceptually building the language back together. And the second thing that's included in that $2,500 milestone is also a recording studio, something I've never had. I've always recorded in very makeshift situations. I've recorded in a tent set up, a camping tent set up indoors with duvets over it to cut the echo. I've recorded halfway into Narnia, with the wardrobe doors open and talking into the clothes to again absorb the echo. And of course, this adds a huge stress to the recording and the editing process, because I need to worry about, what external sounds are coming in from outside, a car passing, a dog barking, is that going to come in the audio, do we need to repeat it, about echoes, etc., etc. So I can't concentrate just on the teaching. I have this technical side to worry about, and because of the recording conditions, the editing takes much longer than it otherwise would, and that's a hugely stressful part of the project. So with the $2,500 milestone to cover a base and a recording studio in a cosmopolitan city, that would relieve a huge amount of stress from my work, which will make me better at it, and with much more energy to follow my vision for language transfer, which is not just the audio courses. There's so many more things I would like to do within the framework of language transfer. Now, if this second milestone isn't reached by 2019, then I will also opt to go part-time on language transfer and put my energy into other projects as well. I don't feel like there's a right way or a wrong way for this to go. I'm really excited for it to go either way, to continue language transfer full-time under better conditions that make this job the exciting and fun thing that it really should be, or having it there part-time as something exciting and fun and getting on with something else. And like I mentioned at the beginning, it's not about sustaining me, it's really about how much you value this project and how much you want to continue. You want this project to continue, and there's really no right or wrong answer there. It's just really time that I put a limit on what I'm willing to sacrifice for this project to continue. So again, thank you so much for the response to the video. It was unexpected, even though I really didn't know what I was expecting. Thank you for joining the campaign. Thank you for the occasional donations, which are going to help me realize these 2 tours that I have planned for this winter, which is to go to France to finish the French script, and then go to Germany to finish the German script, and then get these courses recorded ASAP. So please keep it coming. Please continue to join the campaign. We haven't reached the $1,500 milestone yet, but it's definitely looking promising. And many people have stepped forward to put $10, $20 or more a month on the campaign, and that's really, really appreciated. But much less people have come forward to put that $1 a month. Of course, I'm not complaining that people are putting too much money, but I would definitely like to see many more people that can afford that $1 a month, which is the great majority of the usership, just going through that 2-minute process of logging onto the Patreon website and joining the campaign and keeping the $1 there ticking away, because that's the most sustainable funding that we can have. Many more users donating $1, and this way, you know, if somebody that's donating $30 or $40 a month leaves the campaign, we don't have a huge drop in the campaign in 1 month. So, you know, if you think your $1 a month isn't important, it is. Please do join. This is the last video that I'm going to make for a while. I'll be getting on with the work. I won't be making a video like the last one ever again. It's a huge affront on my dignity and sacrifice also I'm not willing to make again. It really is over to you guys. Like I said, I'm really happy to continue with language transfer part-time or full-time, but I cannot continue, you know, in these immensely stressful conditions. And the other problem that I spoke about, you know, which is the amount of time and energy it sucks from the project, having this model of open volunteering when, you know, there is so little consciousness, it seems, you know, of what it means to promise to volunteer, you know, and put a project in a position where they're waiting for your work when you're just going to disappear. You know, all of those issues that I spoke about, they should also be hugely improved by having, you know, a base in a city where I can have that physical contact with people, be much shorter from the beginning who's going to work and who's not, and, you know, also create open working sessions and whoever turns up. And, you know, it would be a way of also reducing this huge reliance on online volunteering, which, as you know, isn't working very well. And about that, you know, like, I'm not an intolerant person, you know. My complaint was not just about somebody asking a question, for example, and not following up or something. You know, I'm really talking about the huge amount of people that take me through so many mails, planning everything, excitement, promising, and then nothing. And that's just such a huge amount of people. And I need to accept that, and, you know, and also accept that the gap in the project is not going to be filled by online volunteering. It needs to be filled by your support financially to put me in a better position to get that. Otherwise, like I say, I'm going to do something else that might be in the form of, you know, teaching in various universities, other activism to do with language and teaching, or something new altogether, you know. If you want to keep me here, you know what to do. You know, so, okay, this needed to happen. I'm glad it did. I'm glad I got your attention with my angry morning. And, you know, now we all know where we stand as a project and what needs to happen or what doesn't need to happen. And I'm also much less stressed now that I've put that barrier of what I'm willing to do and what I'm not willing to do. So thank you very much. Again, thank you so much for all of the support received so far. Language transfer isn't going anywhere, but where it's going now depends on you guys. Thank you very much, and until soon.